Hello and welcome, everybody. It is indeed 6 o'clock and it is the 6 o'clock club. Hi, I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and we have
Oh, sorry, Kristian
Kristian
from my house
from his house.
again. But I'm not telling you where that is. None of you know where I live. Even I don't know where I live most of the time.
How was your weekend before we get into everything else?
Oh, it was a wonderful. We'll talk about one of the things we did at the weekend, but
hmm
it was the usual. Going out for coffee, relaxing, all the things that a weekend should have.
Yeah, completely different to my weekends,
Yes.
which we'll talk about in a minute. I just want to say a big hello to everybody that is sort of piling up in chat. Thank you for joining us, and thank you if you're watching on catch up as well. So as we normally do, I mean, this is Monday. We're going to talk about the games that we've not talked about on 6 o'clock club, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's games, and then we will talk about what we're going to be doing this week, some of the plans. Hey, Elsa.
Hello, Elsa.
I want to do a big shout out to Elsa. Um, a big loves to you. I'm a boomer, so I can't do that properly, but I've just done it. There you go. I think that's about right. That means love, hopefully, and it's not some some kind of offensive comment. But Elsa has really helped with the graphics and the design. The banner you can see at the bottom, which is there, is Elsa's design. Um, they kindly sent me through the font. That is the magical word. To get the font done, and inspired me to have a little play around with graphic design. So the very starting soon page that was on is all thanks to Elsa's influence, and all of the thumbnails you'll start seeing coming through is also down to Elsa's influence as well. So big loves to you. Thank you very much for that, and welcome. I'm very much sorry about last night's game, but we will talk about that in a minute. Um, so yes, games. My weekends, for those of you who are unfamiliar, sorry, I'm scratching my eye. We're very professional here, as you've probably noticed. I haven't even turned the TV off. Oh, my go-to radio station
What
is
what what were you
Radio
watching?
X.
Ah,
It's radio. But I found Radio X. I'm of a certain age, and it's taken me back.
I'm of a certain age. Radio X. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's grunge and rock. It's great. Um, Check it out if you like that kind of music. Anyway, I was talking about the weekend. So we started off on Friday night with Collateral Damage. This is a weekly game we run 5th edition D&D. I've spoke about it an awful lot, but as a reminder, they are 18th level. It's set in Eberron, although a number of the characters are from elsewhere. They are in the Moor Holds for people who are familiar with that world setting, and they're just descending down into to seek out some ancient dwarven ruins beneath this massive set of mountings. And they've discovered it is infested with Dalkia, fairly similar
Uh,
to what you found under Sharn. This isn't a repeat of that content, you'll be pleased to know.
wouldn't know anyway. I'm not in that
No,
game.
no. The more holds are. Um, hey there, Stuart. Thanks for jumping in. It's really good to sort of see you as well. The more holds are um, a prominent place of Dalkia infestation back in ancient times, and one of the big dwarven clans have actually embraced their technologies. Hey, Michael. So it's quite interesting, really, in the fact that there is politics around it as well. Um,
Interesting.
and both Stuart and Michael, who've just said hi in chat, they are in Collateral Damage, along with Ryan and V and Ben and Charlotte.
Now, is it running? I guess this might not be a question you're willing to answer, but is it set in the past in the game?
It's quite interesting. It is actually in the past. The main reason for that is the war is still going on.
Okay.
But the majority of the characters came from Faerun, and they were working on a device to bring one of the characters back to Eberron. There was somewhat of a massive explosion. Things got sort of ripped apart, and they didn't quite land upon the correct time frame. It was a bit of a shock to them as well. Hey there, Ian. Thank you very much for joining us in chat. So yeah, so I mean, it's a great game. It as I say, it's a Friday night game, and it's very relaxed. People like to have a drink. Hello, Geeklish. Thank you for shouting out. Michael's saying we are in and out of this time period, barely a ripple in the space-time continuum. Absolutely.
Well, don't you go ruining Eberron for my game.
Yeah, well,
that's all I'm going to say.
Who knows? They are. There is potentially a link, but you don't need to worry too much about it.
Andy, it's one of your games.
Yeah.
I'm fully expecting there to be a link between every single one of them, including Vampire. Any game, they're all linked.
I will have to say I had a very crazy idea today. So remind me about my crazy idea when we talk about your game, because I don't want to lose my train of thought, because it is about your game. So, and it's not a spoiler. It's an interesting concept. So that was Friday, and thank you very much, everybody. They descended down. They got set upon by some Umberhawks. Very, very clever crowd control by Cassandra, who slowed the Umberhawks down. Everybody was averting their eyes and stuff. It was not a tough fight. They were very capable of dealing with it, but it was interesting to see them sort of come together with that. And as always, Rich, if you're looking, Rich is a long-time player of Collateral Damage as well. We can't wait to see you return at some point. So yeah, Stuart is saying met a nice ghost detective.
Interesting.
They are in the past, you see. So that is Collateral Damage, and then we move on to Saturday. Very busy day for me. Normally 4 games, but only 3. So we had Curse of Strahd, and this was interesting. If you can hear me, Ian, you were there. We had Ian, we had Ryan, different Ryan to Friday night. We had Matt, we had Josh, and we had Pete. And then they went up against Baba Lysaga. I don't want to give too many spoilers out, because it is the actual Curse of Strahd campaign book. They were kind of half resources when they decided to do this, and yeah, I mean, Ian in chatters. It was. I felt rough for you, because you were all acting in character, but at the same time, it was very challenging. Currently, they are trying to flee from Baba Lysaga now.
It went that well then.
Well, you can talk tactics as much as you like. There were people were all playing their characters, and they were all playing their characters well, and they were playing suboptimally together with not full resources against a very powerful individual from Barovia. Sort of makes it you're playing on hard mode.
Yeah. I think most people in your games call playing suboptimally playing.
So
I'm one of them.
But They did good. They turned it around. It could have been a TPK, a total party kill. For those of you who are unfamiliar, what TPK stands for. I don't ever seek to punish players. I let the dice. I do open rolls. I constantly explain both in and out of character the threat level because it should be made apparent at a certain point. It's not looking good for you. You know, you can go, but I'm a hero as much as you like. But the reality of the situation is actually this. It's up to you how you want to do it. I have absolutely no qualms about character deaths. I would much prefer character deaths to be epic and heroic rather than random of, falling into a ditch, braining yourself on a rock and the rest of the party carrying on as if you as if you didn't exist. But this was challenging, and it goes to show that this campaign book can be deadly at certain points. But they are attempting to retreat at the moment, strategic retreat, and that is where we ended it. So we will see what happens in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it. I think there were a few people saying, yeah, that was really, we managed to pull it back together and it was really challenging. And they kind of like that threat level sometimes. And this is one of the issues with 5th edition D&D. If you play it properly, and there is no proper way to play it, but the way that the game fundamentally has been designed mathematically is you are supposed to do a certain number of encounters between short rests and long rests. It's a resource management game where you are having encounters that you can quite easily deal with, but they eat away at some of your resources, and another encounter that eats away at some more resources, and then
Yeah,
another encounter
it's
until
tough to
you,
balance.
yeah. So yes, um, but sometimes it can feel like this is easy. Our characters can handle anything. Our characters can handle anything, and then sometimes bang, you come against something, and it requires much more of a characters working together with debuffing and buffing, blesses and banes. It's like I'm working out whether this thing is strung with saving throws or this
Yeah,
has got a high armor class. Do we go in there and try and hit it because it's easier to hit rather because it's resisting everything? Does it has legendary saves? There's a whole gamut of things that suddenly they might not have had to deal with before. I'm not talking about Curse of Strahd group. I'm talking generally at the moment, and this is what part of the 6 o'clock club's about, is talking about the games and the kind of issues that arise from them. So that was,
Andy waffling. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, literally, it's my job. I get paid to do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm quiet and I just let the players talk.
yeah.
And very interesting is too. After that, we entered Tomb of Annihilation again. Don't really want to talk too much about it because of spoilers again. They are very close to the end game now, and it's quite challenging because it is a dungeon. It is very, very dangerous, and it's kind of an old school dungeon with puzzles in, and it can be quite frustrating. Um, it's a different style of play. If you like straightforward toe-to-toe combat or tactical combat, that is one style of play. If you like social interaction and trying to work out what is going on, that is another type of play. And a lot of times mega dungeons involve puzzles that you
Yes.
have to do, and you have to work out how this puzzle sort of works. And Tomb of Annihilation has a number of multi-layered puzzles. So it's not like you come to a wall and there's a riddle. You have to work out what the riddle is. Then the wall opens. This was substantially more complex, and um, sometimes that can cause frustration amongst the players as
Yes.
well as the
Yeah.
characters. But they wanted to play Tomb of Annihilation. My remit is to try and give them the best experience possible, but based around that book.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could easily rewrite it so that we cut out of all of those frustrations, but you're not getting kind of
No.
what you signed up for, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah. You want the adventure. You want the experience of
That's
that
right. Yeah,
adventure.
yeah.
You don't want Andy just go. Or whoever, a GM coming on going, right, now I'm going to put 20 of my favorite characters in here. I'm going to set it, instead of in the Tomb of Annihilation, going to be on Mars, and
Yeah,
just
exactly. So I just feel it's my purpose, because they're playing that and they want to play that, is to try and replicate the book as best as I
yeah,
possibly can.
yeah,
It was interesting. They did work it out in the end, and they're moving on, and they've come across a much more simpler puzzle, which
is it a door?
well, it's five doors and a portcullis, to be
it's
perfectly
it's not
honest.
locked, it's not trapped. There's got to be a puzzle here. It's
Uh,
not
it,
locked,
it,
it's
it,
not trapped.
it's literally five wardrobe doors and a portcullis.
Ah,
Again,
okay.
I don't overly want to go into the encounter because of spoilers, just in case people are going to play it in the future. Um, but I again, there's a built up of potential frustration, but then when it's solved, there's also that, oh, we did it kind
Yeah,
of feeling. And as a GM, it's also about managing that, you know. And there's nothing wrong with giving hints or getting them to roll potentially skill checks to see if their characters can figure it out.
yeah,
Because I mean, old school, really old school dungeons, mega dungeons and the like, it was a challenge to the players rather than their characters.
yes,
It was
yeah,
almost akin to a board game or like Hero Quest or whatever. And it was like, your characters won't know about this, but how are you going to solve this? And it has a little bit of that in it to replicate that style of dungeon. But they are coming to the end game now, so it's going to be interesting to see how they achieve that. Wow, we're 3 games in, and we're almost 20 past. Um, there wasn't a game. Oh, there we go. Five doors and a portcullis is
I
giving me real
see.
four doors. Yeah,
I
absolutely
I was
giggly.
I was thinking it would be a great name for like an indie band.
Yeah,
Hey, we're five doors and a portcullis. Hello, Swindon.
absolutely. If you ever get to play Tomb of Annihilation, you will recognise this encounter when you get there. Um, So there was no sort of 4 till 7 game. Unfortunately, that was Critical Role, the Diplomates, and some people had to, but they got prior engagements. So that game didn't particularly fire. I didn't really. We were down a few players, but also it's a very role play type game, and I was, whilst it's my livelihood, I prefer to give the best experience possible. So I was more than happy to postpone that till we can get the gang back together, really. So I missed it. We've got some awesome role players in there, but it will be back on in 2 weeks' time. And then we came to Call of Cthulhu on Saturday night, which was just, I really love Call of Cthulhu. And it was a homebrew game set in the 1920s. It was called It's Just Not Cricket.
Ah, yes, you mentioned that
Yeah,
before.
yeah, I had a blast running it. I think the players enjoyed it as well. And I like to do research. I like to base it on real locations and everything else. So I do a lot of research. So it was set in the grounds of Oxford University. It was set round a cricket match between two colleges. I think it was Magdalen and Trinity. Um, but quite interesting in the 20s and even before then, quite close to there along the river. There was a place called Parsons Pleasure, which is where the Dons and the fellows of the university used to go nude sunbathing.
Ooh,
Yes. So, I mean, yeah, that is definitely an encounter for
definitely.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, definitely don't want Amigo going there.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they had to go there, and it was really interesting. It was a little bit Groundhog's Day. They they started playing a game of cricket, and then when things got to a certain point, it was just like a reset, and they started off just as they started off the
Yeah.
game.
Hmm.
But they had all of their memories, but nobody else
Yeah.
seemed to do, and then they had to
Ah, I
work out
love a
what's
time
going on.
loop. I love
Yeah,
a
yeah.
time loop.
Um, so, and it kind of ended in a very the kind of way I like Cthulhu games to sometimes end, um, because they thought they had solved it. They defeated the smiling man, which was wearing this sort of human face mask. It was all horrific. There was a lot of cricket bats to naked dons that were sunbathing, and they'd had their brains sort of experimented on. And dealing all of that, they went back to the cricket match and started playing again, and the game ended with something simple of, well, the day continues as you would expect it to, but that is the way that they would want you to feel, is it not? Sort of dot dot dot, and it's like, so did we, or didn't we? Are we, or aren't we?
Yep. Yep.
And it's just nice. It's like, yeah, you succeeded. It's fine, or have you? So that was a blast, and I'm working on a sequel to it called Brain Drain. It's obviously set in Oxford University. Someone's experimenting on the brains of professors of the Oxford University. There is this creature, sort of insectoid and fungoid creature that they attacked and destroyed. So yeah, it was great fun. I really enjoyed it, and Ian was one of the players there. We did have, I like to do name checks, so we had Ian, we had Anand, we had George and Dave, all playing in that game, and it was magnificent. And that was Saturday night, and rapidly we come to the only game of
Wow, didn't
Sunday.
realize we. Oh, well, I guess yeah, because
Um,
you were there early and you were there late. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we was going to do a play test after the Eberron game, but some people were just feeling poorly. Some people were tired after a long weekend, so we decided just to have a nice, relaxed evening instead. So the only game I actually ran on Sunday was Eberron, which is the game that
Ooh.
Kristian played in. So I'm gonna stop talking for a moment. Let uh, Kristian talk about it.
Well, I mean, we're at we're at a card tournament at the moment. So in this casino that looks like a pyramid because it probably is a pyramid, run by a lady called Rekmara, who we find out is an undead. So there was lots and lots of exploratory stuff happening. There was, we started off at the party we were at before, so we were kind of starting off, continuing the situation from last time. And from there was a lot of social stuff, and it was a very, very social last night, which was really good. There was a moment where a battle map came out, and then two characters were following two of these NPCs, and they suddenly got put on a battle map, and you always think, oh god, is this going to be combat now? Is it all going to go swiftly? But they managed to work their way out of it without actually having any combat. It was well reasoned, it was careful, it was considerate. Absolutely not like our group at all, but it was really good, and it was finding stuff out about the world, finding stuff out about what's going on, and in my case, getting through to the second round of the tournament by just bluffing my way through and pretending that I'm a drunken idiot. My character is a bard, drunken master, so he's a monk and a bard. He's either a mard or a bonk, but he's drunken master, so he plays up on that part quite a lot. So yeah, it was a really good fun night. Lots and lots of good role play. I was accused of not planning, which I'm not bitter about in the slightest.
This is probably the third or fourth time Kristian has mentioned this to me.
Not bitter at all. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll make sure I remember that the next time that people say, let's just run in and attack it. No, no, no. It's all right. I don't hold grudges.
It was great fun. I got to play Captain Horatio Dove
You
again,
did. It was good fun.
which was good, and we spent a good sort of first 30 minutes just enjoying the role play experience, which was always very nice.
Actually, one point.
Hmm.
So to go back to something you said earlier, you said you don't like to intentionally punish players.
Hmm.
If that were true, and I'm not going to reveal the name yet, but you would not have created him.
No, I mean, yeah, like I
Some of you
say,
know who I mean.
yeah, I know exactly who you mean, and yeah, but but when you finally best him, and I mean Kristian here, I mean Kristian rather than your characters, when you finally best him, which let's face it, it's never going to happen because he's far
No,
too clever for
no,
you.
I've been in 3 games where he's popped up so far.
But yes, it's there'll be an appropriate time that I'm waiting for someone to notice him really, and it's quite funny really because the rest of the players in this game of Eberron, there's all sorts of different factions that have got their own agendas, which some might actually help the player group, some might not, but not necessarily hinder them. So there's a degree of not confusion, but kind of uncertainty amongst all of the players, and they've not met this character yet. So it's a game changer, absolutely a game changer. Um, but what I wanted to mention about this before I rapidly move on to this week is, and this might be a bigger topic for another time, but I had this crazy idea, not about the game that you're in, but either that game for other people to play in or the a similar sort of concept set elsewhere. But I thought that there are a lot of different factions with all doing stuff. Um, how about a campaign book or a scenario book that has like 3 or 4 distinct chapters or parts to it, and each part is a different group doing different things at the same location. It doesn't
Okay.
intermingle.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
like for instance, you've met Sister Charity,
Yeah.
so in one sort of mini story arc, you play in effect their faction in the
Yes.
same
Yeah.
setting, and they can interact with NPCs that were the other player
Yeah.
characters. I just think it's a kind of strange, kind of changing doors kind of thing. It's not like that faction interacts exactly the same as they would have done with
Yeah.
the other one. It's like 4 complete distinct things in the same setting, but with the same factions, and seeing how it sort of plays
Yeah.
out.
Sounds quite interesting. Yeah.
Do you
I
kind of
do. I do.
understand the
Yeah.
premise? Because
Yes. Yeah.
as like I
Yeah.
said, I just had this crazy idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's on the internet now, so now it's someone else's crazy idea, unless you can quickly write it up and monetize it.
oh, it's okay. I mean, it is too crazy. No one will understand a word that I'm saying, like usual. I'll have another crazy idea in 5 minutes anyway. I'm full of. Let's just call it
Ideas.
just call it ideas. Yes. Right. We are rapidly running out of time, so um, we're not going yet. I just want to quickly talk about what we've got this week. Not a huge amount of spaces on anything, but tomorrow night we've got 6 o'clock Monday to Friday. We're all on for that first and foremost. But tomorrow night, game wise, we've got Vampire the Masquerade, which Christian's in. Very much looking forward to that again. Super fun. Wednesday, no real game on in the evening. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my time at the moment. Um, But on the 6 o'clock club, we've got Charlie from Shiver coming to join me and Kristian, and we're going to chat about Shiver, which is a really awesome role-playing game. Um, and it's much more than what it sounds like. They started off with the idea of this cinematic horror sort of setting based game, but they've added lots more sort of content to it now. To I think I mentioned on other streams about they've got one coming out that kind of replicates like Jurassic Park and other sort of cinematic kind of experiences. Um, they've got a very interesting set of dice that don't roll numbers, roll symbols and indicate.
Mm,
So it's got
yeah, sounds
a
interesting.
unique sort of games mechanic as well. So Charlie, basically the main writer, will be with us explaining that. I think they've got a Kickstarter starting, and maybe I think they've started is it a Patreon or a Patron?
Patreon.
Patreon. I started one of those things, so he'll be chatting about that as well. He is a fantastic chap. I've spoke to him before. Very knowledgeable about role playing. He's obviously very passionate about Shiver and the things that he's doing, and he's also volunteered at some point to run a game of Shiver for us to play in, and we'll do that as an actual play as well. So super excited about all of that. Thursday is our Call of the Netherdeep game, critical role game. Again, very excited. We missed it 2 sessions ago. Well, 1 session ago, 2 weeks ago. So I can't wait to get back into this, and they're getting into the meat of it at the moment. So I'm very, very excited with that. Friday, Collateral Damage. I've spoken a lot about Collateral Damage already. They are delving. They're going to head towards, I think, the Forge, which they know is a Duergar sort of settlement. So that was going to be fun. Um, Saturday, Dungeon of the Mad Mage, the Mega Dungeon. First thing, they've got a big fight on their hands. After that, we've got Greyhawk Unbound. They are actually heading to the city of Greyhawk, the free city of Greyhawk, one of the most iconic locations. I'm so excited. I love Waterdeep. Baldur's Gate is very, very cool. I like my urban settings, but this is like the free city of Greyhawk.
It's probably in Dungeons and Dragons circles a faux pas to mention this, but I don't know anything about Greyhawk.
That's okay. You don't need to. You're not that old. Don't worry about it.
I just
You
look
just
old.
look
Yeah,
at
I
yeah.
see.
I was gonna say that. Um, what you should do is play in some of my games, and you'd learn all about Greyhawk. I
Well, I would do
think
if there were spaces. There's no spaces.
there are no
You're
spaces.
full.
I am. Um, Wizards of the Coast are doing, I think, an anniversary Greyhawk book probably next year, maybe. I'm very, very excited to see what they've done with that. But yeah, I'm very excited about Greyhawk and going to the free city of Greyhawk. Then we've got Tales from the Smoke, My City, the Smoke coming up. No spaces there either, unfortunately, all sold out. And then in the evening, we're doing quite a high level Spelljammer campaign called Cosmic Rain, and they've only scratched the surface of it. And I'm hoping this coming session they will be full on into what is going on, which I'm very excited. We do have one place left. If anybody's interested in jumping into that, great group of players. We've got Adam, we've got Sky, and we've got Jack playing in it. It's going to go on anyway. I'm happy to run it with 3 players for this. But if anybody's interested in playing, jump on to Discord. Let me know. Then Sunday, only 2 games. We've got a mythical, which is on 1 till 4, and then we've got our weekly
Woo.
Eberron game where you hopefully will discover even more stuff, and who knows, maybe come
Indeed.
across that particular NPC.
I hope
Uh,
not.
Well, we shall see. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope it's been of interest to you of what's happening. We got into conversations about the weekend's games, which is certainly what Mondays is all about. So I want to say a big thank you to everybody that is in chat, everybody that is watching now live, and a big thank you as well. It really helps us out if you watch this not just live but on the video on demand, because YouTube has got a crazy. If you watch live, it doesn't count towards the metrics. Um, we're still going to do live stuff.
And if you, I believe, as the other YouTubers say, if you could please like and subscribe, and there is a little bell icon. I think it's just down there, if that's in frame, just kind of below me. If you could like and subscribe, and ring the bell, you'll be notified if you ring the bell of any videos coming up from Twisted Narrative.
And tomorrow we'll be talking about some of the video content that we are thinking of making, not just the live stuff. But for now, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Be nice to each other, look after each other, and we will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Take care for now. Bye bye, everybody.
Stay safe all. Bye.
Bye.